Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License Lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And Saquon and the Giants could not get a deal done on Monday. So if he plays in 2023, which he definitely will, he is going to have to play on the franchise tag. He has yet to sign the franchise tag, so he most likely will not be at training camp when they open camp on Wednesday. And honestly, as a Giants fan, I don't mind this. I don't mind him playing the franchise tag. I didn't want to pay a running back $17 million a year. I feel like Joe Schoen did not want to do that either. This is not a guy Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen brought in. I don't mind. I don't mind this. I don't mind this at all. I think this is good for the franchise that they're not paying a running back this kind of money. And I think going forward, this is the right move for this team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Look, you could say it's unfair that running backs are not getting paid anymore, but their lifespans just are not great, and it's become like a huge passing league in a lot of ways. And look, Saquon's got no leverage in this point or in this spot right now. So I'm fine with the Giants kind of saying, all right, let him do what he wants. And just, again, on his own, he's still training and getting himself ready for the season. But again, I don't know if he's going to sit out or not, but the last time somebody did that was Le'Veon Bell, and look what happened to him. He was never the same. So I can't imagine. Hopefully for the Giants, he does come back, or if he does sign the franchise tag and all that. But I completely agree with you. There's no point to for the Giants here to reset the running back market. There's not
at all, none at all. And why this is the right move for the Giants. I mean, if you look at Saquon Barkley, he's been great when he's on the field, but in the 5 years he's been on the team, he's missed 21 games. And I think another reason why the Giants didn't do this is because of the growth of Daniel Jones. This offense became an offense more about, at the second half of the year, this became an offense that was more about Daniel Jones than Saquon Barkley. We remember, in London when Barkley wasn't on the field for that 91-yard drive when the Giants tied the game. I mean, Jones broke made franchise history against Jacksonville, being the first quarterback to throw for over 200 yards and rush for over 100 yards. And then you saw at the end of the year when they started to unlock Daniel Jones, that 97-yard drive against the Commanders. That was a huge touchdown drive. Then the Then the game against the Vikings where they lost, but he threw for over 300 yards. Then the game against the Colts where he had 4 total touchdowns. And then the playoff game where Saquon only had 9 carries and Daniel Jones threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they won that playoff game. This offense is becoming more about Daniel Jones. It's going to continue to become more about Daniel Jones because they went out and traded for Darren Waller. They went out and signed and went out and drafted Jalen Hyatt. So I think that I think this offense is becoming more and more about Daniel Jones. And as good as Saquon is, it's becoming less and less about him. Yes, they needed him early on because they didn't know what they had with Daniel Jones. But once Brian Daboll knew he could unlock Daniel Jones, the offense became more about Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. And that's why I think this is the right move.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Daniel Jones did have really, you kind of saw finally that there was some progression with him last year. And yeah, with Barkley, he's missed a lot of time. Again, when he's been out there, he's been great at, production wise, passing wise, receiving wise and rushing wise. But yeah, with the way Daniel Jones played, and again, you could fill running backs, you could just sign a guy in this, I know they got Eric Gray, and they got Matt Breida, who's been a capable running backup. And that's really, that's all you kind of need for running backs at this point. There's, again, look at Dalvin Cook. The Vikings just cut him. I'm like, the Chargers don't even want to pay Austin Eckler, who's had 38 total touchdowns the last 2 years. Like, it's a different world. So, yeah, and two with the offense, and with offenses nowadays in the NFL, again, always in the past, you'd see 4th and 1, 4th and 2, teams running up, they give it to the running back and let them go to work. Now in 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you're seeing teams go shotgun 5 wide, and they're trying to they're throwing the ball on 4th down. So yeah, it's a totally different league, and teams are kind of their fullback has kind of pretty much gone extinct, and I don't know if the running back will ever go extinct, but it's teams are less and less using them and want to pay them less, and it's unfortunate. So yeah, for the Giants, it's tough. Barkley's been a big part of that team, but when he's been on the field, but yeah, it's too risky to pay a running back that much money nowadays.
Absolutely. And our next question is going to be: is this going to be a distraction for this team going into training camp? Is this going to be a distraction? And I don't think it's going to be, because you know why? I don't think Brian Daboll is going to allow it. Brian Daboll, he was the coach of the year for a reason. He changed the culture with the Giants last year. I think this team trusts that Brian Daboll is going to lead them in the right direction. I don't think this is going to be a distraction. Now, are the Giants a better football team with Eric Gray and Matt Breida running the ball, running back? No. But this isn't going to be a distraction, because Brian Daboll, this team, I feel like, trust Brian Daboll. They trust Brian Daboll. They believe in Brian Daboll. And I feel like he's not going to allow this to be a distraction going into training camp.
No, I don't think it will. And I think the players understand what Barkley's trying to do here too. Like, I understand. Like, I bet those players understand he's trying to get his money. They understand what he's trying to do here. And I know, and I don't think the players are angry or upset at him. So like, I don't think it's going to be a distraction. And yeah, your points on Daboll too. He's done a great job of turning that culture around. I don't think it's going to be a big problem in that locker room.
No, it's definitely not. I feel like this locker room is a really good locker room. I feel like the locker room. They believe in the head coach. I think with some of the talent on this team coming into this season too, I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to have definitely a better year. I think Evan Neal's going to have a better year. I think those guys are going to step up. They went out and they got Darren Waller. They made that move. They went out and drafted Jalen Hyatt. So they've drafted pieces on the team. They have more talent on this team than they did last year. I know they're not going to have Saquon in training camp, but they have more talent than they've had last year. I think this team is going as planned and as scheduled. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about Saquon, but I think Brian Daboll is going to be able to answer those questions. This team is going to move forward and have a really, really strong training camp. Yeah,
absolutely. And I bet Daboll, the first time that thing comes up, he's going to address it once and kind of say, look, I don't want any more questions. That it is where it is. And yeah, I think it's going to be something where, there's not too much distraction. Joe, at some point Barkley comes back and, plays on the franchise tag. But yeah, I think, Brian Daboll, the team kind of handles this well. I think they all kind of understand where Barkley's coming from. And, he just wants to get paid what he thinks he should get paid. And, and I don't think the players will have too big of a problem with that. But yeah, I think this thing, it's not going to be an issue in that locker room.
Oh, not at all. Now the big question is will he play in week 1? When the Giants face the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, Will Saquon Barkley be out there for week 1? And to me, there's no doubt in my mind he'll play. He'll play. Because as you said earlier, the Giants have all the leverage. Saquon could sit out the entire season and he would cost himself $10 million. The Giants have all the leverage. Eventually, Saquon's going to come back. And you also brought up Le'Veon Bell. What happened with Le'Veon Bell when he sat out a season? He was never the same. So right now, the Giants have all the leverage. They got all the leverage. There is no way in my mind that Saquon won't be out there for week 1 because he's not going to forfeit money. He's not going to forfeit money. Now, will he be happy? We'll see. But he's not going to forfeit money. So for me, there is no way Saquon won't be out there when the Giants are playing on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys in week 1.
To me, yeah, I think he will be out there. But if he tries to go out there and kind of goes, doesn't play week 1 and sees what happens, the Giants are an underdog anyways. The Cowboys, even if he doesn't play and he tries to kind of make a point, even with Saquon, you probably lose that game. So, even if he, wants to kind of try to prove a point week 1, if he does, he's not out there. It'd be pretty tough to do. So I feel like, yeah, he's going to be out there. And I think I'm with you. I think he understands that. Yeah, he probably sees what happened to Le'Veon Bell. And, again, $10 million. I know he wants more, but again, I feel like I feel like still, even with that on the table, I feel like it's kind of hard to just kind of shake your head and say, no, I think at some point he will sign. He'll be out in the field week 1.
Yeah, he's gonna be. I'm confident he's gonna be, and I want him to be. I want him to be out on the field week 1 because we definitely would have a better chance of beating the Cowboys if he's out there week 1. Yeah, you can always say, oh, Matt Breida and Eric Gray could do the job. They really haven't proven they could do the job. So I definitely want him out there. I want him out there for week 1, and honestly, I would not be. I would be shocked if he wasn't out there for week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Gray had a lot of damage in college, and he's a decent receiving back too. He caught over 30 passes, so he can do a little bit too catching on the backfield, which will help because I know Barkley's, over the years been a big part of that, as a receiving back as well. So you do have that, but yeah, Eric Gray hasn't proven anything yet at the NFL level. Matt Breida has been good, but he's an older running back. I know he doesn't have as much kind of wear and tear maybe because he hasn't, he's had some injury concerns throughout his career. But yeah, I feel like, Barkley, I think there's a good chance that Barkley's out there week 1. And yeah, the Giants definitely have a better shot with Saquon Barkley out there than Matt Breida and Eric Gray.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens throughout the summer with what happens with Saquon and through training camp with what happens with that situation. But with other guys with Josh Jacobs not getting a long-term deal, and Tony Pollard, who did sign his franchise tender, he didn't get a long-term deal either. The big question is what has happened to the running back position in the NFL? What's happened to the position? It's been undervalued, and I think it's, but it makes sense that it is undervalued. And I got 3 reasons why it does make sense that does make sense that it's undervalued. One of them is the players just don't stay elite players for a long time. They don't stay great players for a long time. So you're not going to sign a running back to a long-term deal if you're not getting the same kind of production. Look at Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas when the Cowboys signed Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott was a top running back in the league for 3 years. And then when he signed that deal, he kept getting worse and worse and worse. And the Cowboys could not wait to get rid of him. And now he can't even find a team to be at now. He was one of the top running backs in the league 4 years ago, and now he can't even find a team. So that's one reason why. The second reason why, 2 guys could do the job 1 guy can do. I mean, if you get 2 guys to rush for 65 yards in a game, 2 running backs to rush for 65 yards in a game, that's as good as 1 running back rushing for 130 yards. So this is a position where 2 guys could do the job. It's not like quarterback where you can't have 2 quarterbacks. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. An elite receiver dictates coverage in a game. And we'll talk about that with DeAndre Hopkins when we talk about Hopkins. But an elite receiver dictates coverage. Running back, you could have 2 guys that could do the job that 1 guy could do. That's another reason why the position has been devalued. And lastly, when is a great running back led a team to a championship? The last amazing great running back was great running back in this league was Adrian Peterson. The Vikings won 1 playoff game with Adrian Peterson. Great running backs don't lead teams to championships. So my reasons is that 2 guys can do the job 1 guy can do. They don't stay great. They don't have a long. They don't stay elite players for a long time. And it's tough for a great running back to carry you to a championship. So I understand why the running back position is being devalued in the NFL.
Yeah, I completely agree with 3 points, and, the other, I'll bring up a couple. I think, the way the game is played too now, as I was mentioning too, like 4th and 1, 4th and 2, like even at the goal line now, you're seeing teams go running shotgun and throwing the ball to now. So the game's kind of is evolved to being a much more passing type of game. And especially with the new rules too, of kind of protecting the quarterback and all that, like it's hard to play defense. It's hard to, play corner and safety nowadays, with all the new rules and all that. And so it that's been an issue. And like in a hard cap sport too, it's tough. Like, when you're paying these quarterbacks 45, 50 million, and again, we're going to keep getting higher and higher, you'd rather probably save some of that money instead of paying a running back 15 to 20 million a year, or, a year. Yeah, you can find 2 cheap options, and go from there and be okay. So, yeah, I just think the way the sport's going too, it again, as I mentioned too, the fullback's kind of gone extinct. Everybody had a fullback back in the day. Nobody, I think the Niners like the only one that.
One team, 49ers, that's it. Yeah.
In college, you got the 3 service academies. Kansas State still uses one, but San Diego State, like there's not too many college teams either that use a fullback. So it's gone extinct for him. So again, I don't know if the running back position will ever go extinct. I don't think it will, but it's just just the way the game is evolving. It's kind of less and less on the running backs, and you just don't have to pay him as much. So look, it's unfortunate. Again, it's not yet, because you mentioned Josh Jacobs. The guy led the league in rushing last year. Like Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard. I know he signed his franchise tag, but he's a huge part of that Cowboys team last year. Like, yeah, like it's hard. Dalvin Cook signed that big deal, and the Vikings got rid of him. So yeah, again, is it fair? You can debate it, probably not, but it is what it is in the sport right now.
Exactly. And it's not going to change. It's going to become even more and more of a passing league. Now, moving on to a receiver who got signed this week. The Tennessee Titans signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 2-year, $26 million deal. And the big question for the Titans is are they Super Bowl contenders with DeAndre Hopkins? Is this team Super Bowl contenders? And that is a quick no, because I don't think the quarterback is good enough. I don't think the offensive line is good enough. And as good as Derrick Henry is, he's close to 30 years old. And the defense was great against the run, but really bad against the pass. So their defense was middle of the pack last year too, even though Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best players and get Harold Landry back. So it's for the Titans being Super Bowl contenders with Hopkins. Does Hopkins make them contenders? I know Hopkins is still really good. He's not the player he was in 2020, but he's still really good. But I do not think they are Super Bowl contenders. It's a team that lost 7 straight last year, and a team with a quarterback that is not right now. That is his best days. To me, his best days are behind him.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're not. Again, I could see him get the playoffs, and they in their style of play, I could see him maybe upsetting a team. But yeah, I don't think realistically they're not winning a shootout against anybody. That's just not happening. And Hopkins again, yeah, he's a really good wide receiver. Again, he's caught passes for 15 different quarterbacks in the league, and his production's still been pretty good throughout the board. So again, he's gonna have a huge part of this offense. It's just, again, it's not gonna be enough. Yeah, the offensive line was horrible. I know, Malik Willis had some time last year. He did not play well, when he started his couple games last year. So, yeah, I don't think this team's a Super Bowl contender. I could maybe see him sneak up on somebody in a playoff game, but that's about it.
Yeah, to me, they're definitely not a Super Bowl contender. Now, last year, the Titans had a 4-game lead. On Thanksgiving, the Titans had a 4-game lead in the AFC South, but they ended up losing 7 straight, and Jacksonville won 6 of their last 7, and then Jacksonville won the division. And the question is, now with the addition of Hopkins, are they back to being the best team in the AFC South? And I'm going to say absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think Jacksonville's leaps and bounds better, and I think the biggest reason why is the quarterback. The quarterback for Jacksonville is far superior to the quarterback in Tennessee. That's why I think that Jacksonville is clearly the best. I don't think Hopkins makes them the best team in the AFC South. I think Jacksonville is still clearly the best team in the division. I think if you look at Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, his last 9 games in the regular season, 16 total touchdowns, 2 picks. He was one of the best quarterbacks in football those last 9 games, and he's going to get Calvin Ridley back. I think that Jacksonville is clearly a better, even though the Titans got Hopkins, I think Jacksonville is clearly a better team than the Titans because Jacksonville went up at the end of the year last year and Tennessee went down. So I definitely do not think the Titans are the best team in the AFC South going into the season.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Jacksonville, year 200 Doug Peterson now, I expect that team to get, that you saw that team grow throughout the year, and I expect to see that team continue to get better this year. You mentioned Trevor Lawrence, the way they ended, because they started that year, 2-6.
They didn't win. They didn't win a game in the month of October.
No, yeah, because they had like that 5-game losing streak, and then they kind of caught fire in the month of November. It was right around, I think it was like right after that bye, like right after Thanksgiving. That's when they kind of caught fire towards the end of the year. And so again with the young Trevor Lawrence, they got a good receiving core. That offensive line going to get a little bit better this year. I expect Jacksonville to win that division again. Yeah, Tennessee, the offense again, Derrick Henry, again, he's not built like most running backs. He's been pretty healthy throughout. I know he, one time had a injury, he was out for a while, but again, their defense can keep them some games. With the offense of Ryan Tannehill, I think they finished in second, but I don't think offensively, I think they're still a little bit can be offensively challenged in some spots, and their defense might be able to bail them out in some games, but I don't think it's to be enough. I think Jacksonville will probably win that division. I think they beat Tennessee out by like a game or two.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it's going to be 4 or 5 games just because of the quarterback play. I think it's going to be 4 or 5 games. Jacksonville has a good chance to maybe even get the number 1 seed in the AFC. So I think it could be 4 or 5 games that Jacksonville could beat out Tennessee in that division. Now the next question is are the Titans a playoff team with DeAndre Hopkins? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because I just don't like the quarterback. I think the quarterback has gotten worse and worse every year. There's a chance Will Levis could be the starting quarterback in the middle of the season. I don't like the offensive line either. I think the offensive line was one of the worst in football last year. I think it's going to continue to struggle. I think the offensive line is going to continue to struggle. The defense, as I said, is decent, but it's not great. I like Vrabel. I like parts to this team. Derrick Henry is still one of the best running backs in football. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best defensive tackles in the game, but within a stacked – maybe if they were in the NFC, they might be a wild card team. But in the AFC, this stacked AFC, if you look at the AFC, you look at, the Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Ravens, Bengals, Chargers, Chiefs, Jags. This AFC is stacked. I don't see them as one of the top 7 teams in the AFC, and I think they missed the playoffs for the second straight year, even though they went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think, the only chance they have to make the playoffs to win the division, they're not going to make it in a wild card. It's way too competitive as a conference. I just don't see them beating out some of those other teams you mentioned. I just need to be too tough with that offense, and they'll probably maybe win 7-8 games. Maybe that's about it. I'm with you. I think the only chance if they're in the NFC, they could probably get in as a wild card team, but in this loaded AFC, I don't think the only chance they got is win that division.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we will move on to the team that missed out on DeAndre Hopkins, and that's the Patriots. And the big question is how big of a missed opportunity is this for the Patriots? And I think this is a big missed opportunity. Yes, I know DeAndre Hopkins, not the player he was in 2020, but still, he was still a really good player last year. In the 4 games that Kyler Murray played, he either had a game where he had over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. He didn't have a game where he didn't have a touchdown or over 100 yards receiving. You saw that one-handed catch against Minnesota. You saw that one-handed catch against the Chargers. I still think he's a top 10 receiver in the game. He definitely would have been the biggest. He would have been the best receiver on the Patriots roster. This is a huge missed opportunity because you got a young quarterback. You got a young quarterback that you don't know if he's your guy or not. And how you really are going to be able to determine if he's your guy or not is to give him a top receiver. You look at his Alabama teammates. Last year, the Dolphins, they traded for Tyreek Hill. The Eagles, they traded for A.J. Brown to know if they had their guy or not, and that guy succeeded. The Patriots needed to put Mac Jones in a position to succeed. And the crazy thing is he picked a team that lost 7 straight games over the Patriots. That's embarrassing for that franchise that happened. That is embarrassing that happened for that franchise. And this is a major, major missed opportunity for the Patriots not to get a weapon like this.
Yeah, it hurts. Again, like even if Hopkins is signed here, there's no guarantee we finish third place in this division. Like there's still not a guarantee of that.
There's no guarantee, but it would be better for Mac Jones, and you would know what you would know if you had your quarterback going forward. Mac Jones could have another bad year this year, and you wouldn't really know if you have your guy going forward because the organization over the last 2 years outside of hiring Bill O'Brien has done everything to set this kid up to fail.
Yep, and that's been a huge issue, and yeah, it would have been nice to have him because we still don't have the tackle position is still a big weak spot in the team, and he ain't a scrambler, like he's a pocket passer who again is not great mobilely, so that's another issue on this team, again, with him signing, it doesn't sound like New England. So New England had $17 million in cap space. So Hopkins got $16 million. Now, even with the Titans, because the Titans have a better chance of winning the AFC South than the Patriots do of winning their division. So the Patriots probably would have had to pay him $18 million. Now, they could have tried to make some flexibilities there and done it. But again, knowing Bill, there's no way he's paying him $18 million. They would have to pay him more than the Titans, and there's no way that they were ever going to do that. Unfortunately, you would think he maybe would have pulled the trigger to help his quarterback, but Bill's Bill.
And that is the problem. Bill operates like this is Tom Brady is still there, and he's been doing that since Tom Brady has left. He still operates like Tom Brady is still there. He still thinks, the culture and the system is going to matter. He's going to think, DeAndre Hopkins needs us more than we need them, which is nonsense. Okay, he thinks that Tom Brady's still there. That's how he operates. That is a major problem right now. And this team has the worst roster in the AFC East, and there is a great chance they're going to finish in last place in the AFC East. And people are going to say, "Oh, well, look at the defense. Look at the defense." Well, here's the question: how many quarterbacks did they beat that are current starting quarterbacks right now? How many starting quarterbacks did the Patriots beat last year that are current starting quarterbacks right now? One guy, Jared Goff. They beat Skylar Thompson, Zach Wilson twice, Mitch Trubisky, Jacoby Brissett, Sam Ellinger. That's who they beat last year. They beat one quarterback that's a current starting quarterback on their team. And if you look at going into this year, what they're going to have to go up against: Aaron Rodgers twice, Josh Allen twice. They might have to go up against Tua twice. They got to go up against Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott. 13 of their 17 games are against pretty good quarterbacks. I mean, there might be 4 games on the schedule: the game against the Raiders, the game against the Colts, the game against the Commanders, and maybe the game against the Steelers that they might have the better quarterback going into that game. The other 13, they won't. Yeah, there might be a game against the Dolphins because Tua might end up being hurt. But that's pretty much. They're probably at most 5 games going into this year that they're going to have the better quarterback going into the game, and that's not a recipe to win games in the NFL in 2023.
That was a great point on the quarterbacks. I did not realize that there only be one guy that's the current starting quarterback. But after you mentioned, I was like, yeah, that you were right about that, which is crazy. But again, you got me more worried now about.
Oh yeah, team. You got to be worried. If you're a Patriot fan, you got to be more worried. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm a little bit more worried. And look, I don't know how much longer Bill's going to be. I know Bill wants to he wants to pass on Shula, and he's 30 more from tying him. But everything sounds like Jerome Mayo is going to be the guy, that he's going to be the next in line, and they kept him around. And I can't imagine that Mayo would have stuck around if Bill's going to be here for another 4 or 5 years. I can't imagine. I think he probably would have left if that was the case and grabbed another job. So I don't so maybe he's only here for another year or 2. I don't know. But look, I know Kraft probably wants one more run. He ain't getting any younger. He's in his 80s now. But if this team goes 8-9, 7-10, I don't know if Kraft fires him. If this team really flops and goes 3-14, then maybe he kind of, him and Kraft kind of maybe it's one of those, okay, mutually part ways kind of thing where, hey, we're not going to fire you, but, walk away, or maybe Kraft gives him another job in the organization that's not that coach. Maybe that's what happens. But look, Bill definitely deserves a lot of blame for kind of what's going on the last couple of years. Again, yeah, he is, you mentioned it too. He has not held Mac Jones out. That, again, he's running it's, for him, it's still like Tom Brady's running this team and is playing quarterback, and he cannot fill all your holes. He just, Mac, there's only one guy that's really ever going to be able to do that. Mac has not been that guy. So yeah, it's been unfair to him. But I'll be interested, how much longer he sticks around. Again, if they go 3-14, something like that, yeah, maybe they mutual away. If they go 7-10, 8-9, I can't see Kraft firing him. I can maybe see him go, look, next year we have to make the playoffs or we're done. I got to move on. But they go somewhere right near 500. I think he probably gets at least one more. I don't, for Kraft, I don't know, for all he's done, it'd be tough for him to kind of sit there and fire him.
Yeah, and I think you answered our next question. Should Belichick be on the hot seat going into the season? And you're kind of saying, maybe not. I'm saying yes. I'm saying he should be on the hot seat, especially as the general manager. That's the problem. That is the problem. And I said it earlier. He operates like Tom Brady is still the quarterback of this team. You can't operate the same way. You can't do things the same way with Mac Jones, your quarterback, as you do with Tom Brady. Yes, you can get away with not paying guys, not putting talent around Tom Brady, and he can overcome that and get you to an AFC championship game. Mac Jones, he can't do that. You have to do things differently when you have a quarterback like Mac Jones. You got to put players around him. And they have, over the last 2 years, they have not done that. They have not done that for Mac Jones. So I think Bill Belichick as the general manager should absolutely be on the hot seat. And if they have another bad year, they need to bring in a general manager here because things will not get better until they get a general manager. So as a GM, you should be on the hot seat. And maybe as a head coach, you try to keep him around. Maybe to break Shula's record. And he hasn't slipped up that much as a head coach. I still think he's a top 2 coach in the league behind Andy Reid. I don't think he slipped up that much as a head coach. I know what happened with Patricia and that at the end of the Raiders game was inexcusable, but I still think he's one of the top coaches in the league. But as a general manager, if they don't make the playoffs this year, he's got to be gone. If he doesn't want to get rid of the GM role, get rid of him. Get rid of him entirely. Get him away. Get him out of the organization.
Yeah, GM role. Yeah, maybe that's where they go 7, 10, 8, 9. Maybe that's what Kraft says. Hey, just I'm going to bring on a new GM. Just worry about the head coaching duties. I'm bringing in somebody. And yeah, if he doesn't want to agree to that, maybe they do. Maybe they do go their separate ways here. But yeah, head coach. As a head coach, yeah, he's still one of the best. Again, because I see it very, and I know there's not a lot of winnable games on our schedule. But with him still as our head coach, I can't see us going 3-14. We'll steal a couple games. But yeah, as him as a GM, I think it's he's worn his welcome. I know he's done it forever here, but yeah, I think it's a time where you got to start doing things a little bit differently, and he's got to again, he's a very stubborn person, but yeah, at some point you got to get over that and you got to evolve and. He just hasn't done that, unfortunately. And so, yeah, again, another kind of bad year. If you finish in last, I think absolutely Kraft has to go in there and say, look, I'm going to bring somebody in and be the GM. And just I just want you to be head coach. And knowing Bill, hopefully that's okay. But part of me does, thinks that could end, that could be the end of Bill in New England.
I think it's going to be the end because I don't think he's going to give it up. Now he should give it up, but I don't think he is going to give it up. But we'll end up seeing what happens there. But the Yankees have been absolutely terrible over the last week. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Alrighty, so the Yankees have been absolutely terrible since July 4th, the Yankees have been terrible. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games. It has just been awful. Everything's been awful. Starting pitching, the offense has been putrid. Even the bullpen, they've blown 3 leads where they've had a 2-run lead or more going into the 7th. They've blown in this losing streak. They've blown 3 games. Where they've had a 2-run lead or more going into the 7th inning. So this has just been absolutely terrible. This is the lowest it's been for the Yankees since 2016. This is the lowest it's been since 2016. It's everything. The offense has been awful, even though Stanton hit a couple home runs this weekend. The starting pitching has been up and down like it's been all year. And this bullpen has been terrible recently. It's been great all year, but it's been terrible recently. This team is at a terrible spot right now. 2.5 games behind the Astros for the last wild card spot. And let me tell you something. This team has got to start winning games, and they got to start winning today and then on this homestand. This homestand has got to be a homestand where they take 4 to 5. It's got to be a homestand where they take 4 to 5 because you see what's coming up after it. After that, they got 10 games with the O's, the Orioles, the Rays, and the Astros after their homestand against the Mets and the Royals. So this team has got to pick it up. This is absolutely terrible. Last night was pathetic, only getting 1 hit against the Angels. They've lost 2 games to the Angels without Mike Trout. That is inexcusable.
Yeah, it is. And, this team is an absolute disappointment. Yeah, again, the bullpen just is falling apart. And again, and this is why it's tough to trust the bullpen all the time because, again, they use them so much because Boone loves to rush and go to his bullpen. Every chance he gets, he loves to go to him. And this is what happens. They all wear down.
And this is why this is on Boone because he pulled Herman in that game against the Cubs they blew. He pulled Cole in the game against the Rockies that they blew. And the other night he pulled Severino. This is why this is on Boone. This is exactly why if they don't make a run here, they don't turn this around, he's got to go. He's got to be gone. Oh, yeah. Aaron Boone has got to be fired.
Oh, yeah, he's a clown now. I'm tired of all this positivity stuff. Oh, yeah, we're confident. I look in that dugout. I don't see one dude that's confident in that dugout. I cannot stand. I wish I could be as positive Aaron Boone all the time. I wish I could. Everything's rainbow and sunshine to them, even for how bad they're playing. Everything's so great. I can't stand them. Again, Monday night, and I know Mickey Monica hit a home run last night, but how do you pitch the Shohei there? And he was like, well, if he fall behind in the count and if the guy was on second base, who cares? If the dude on second scores, it's still 3-2. You're still in the lead. I know. Again, I don't. He just chews on his bubble gum and his sunflower seeds, and I just think he's just drifting off the space. I don't think he has any clue what's going on in a baseball game. So
none at
all. Boone's been awful.
None at all. He has no clue. The
lineup, the lineup's a mess. I know we'll get to a minute, but I'd rather just have this team just be sellers. I would, but again, nobody in the line is playing well, so it's kind of hard to sell. But at this point, this team's a joke, and this let's be honest, this team not making the playoffs. Even when Judge comes back, he's not going to be 100%. This team ain't making the playoffs. There's no chance they make the playoffs. So I can't watch this baseball team. It's just impossible.
Nor are they not making the playoffs. They might be out of this if this continues. They might be out of this by the middle of August. They might not get us the football season. They might be out of this by the middle of August the way things are going.
Yeah. Them and the Mets. It could be month and a half of no baseball talk. Yeah, they do.
Imagine New York. It's gonna pretty much be. I mean, at least the Giants and Jets are gonna be really good this year. Both teams should be really good. And you got Barkley, you got Rogers to talk about. But yeah, in New York, there could be no baseball to talk about in September with the way things are going.
No, absolutely not. No, it's gonna be speculation on if managers are going to survive in the city, or even for the Mets point again, because Cashman's staying. We all know that. But if Billy Epler,
we all know Cashman's. Yeah, we all know Cashman's staying. Epler and Buck should both be gone, but Epler's going to stay. But yeah, Cashman's going to stay because he just got signed a new contract, and that's another problem with this team. Yeah. Brian Cashman, did not put this team in any position to succeed this year with all these veterans that can't hit. Guys like they re-signs Rizzo, he can't hit. Re-sign DJ LeMahieu, he can't hit. And then you got guys like Trevino and Kiner Falefa, who are absolutely terrible. Gleyber Torres, who is an average hitter, but he's a terrible fielder. I mean, it's just bad all around. It's just bad all around right now for this team.
Yeah, it is. And, and look, a lot of these guys they've had to get outside the system. And this is another thing I could put on Cashman. And I know they draft a lot in the 20s to 30s, but look at the LA Dodgers. It seems like every single year they got 3 or 4 prospects that are ready to go. Gavin Lux, Walker Buehler, the couple stars they brought up this year. Every year the Dodgers have developed great talent. The Yankees give them credit for Judge. Hopefully Volpe and Oswald Peraza are going to be those guys, but they have not developed much talent over the years. They've had to go out of the organization and have to go grab guys. They have not done a good job in that organization of development. And, again, hopefully Dominguez, Austin Wells, Clayton Beater down at AAA, they got for Gallo last year. He's been awesome down there. So, I don't know, maybe this core, behind them, this next, group of prospects can kind of do the job. But, yeah, Cashman also, development-wise, has not been great of late. Look at all the pitchers. Severino. I know Severino has moments. Then we had Debbie Garcia.
Oh, God. Even Severino this year has been just god-awful.
Yeah. And hopefully Severino turned a corner Monday because he did pitch better. But, there were so many stars that they're supposed to be, the next big thing in New York, and they just all fly. I don't even know if Chance Adams is even playing ball in the U.S. anymore. I don't even know. They really have not done a good job, especially pitching-wise. So that's another thing on Cashman. They have not done well of late. And, again, they've had to resort to veterans that just, Rizzo's been awful. LeMay was a crazy one because you didn't think that this would happen to a guy because he's a contact hitter, but unfortunately it has. And, it's been awful. And, this week against the Royals it's a must sweep, but I don't see it with the team right now. I don't, not even the Royals, I can't see us sweeping.
No, with the way things are going, absolutely not. Even though how terrible the Royals are, absolutely not. Yeah. It's not going to go that way. And the same thing with the Mets. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Mets split with them, or even this is crazy to say, even won those 2 games against them. The way they're playing, they've lost 8 out of their last 10, and 6 of the 8 have been to the Cubs, the Angels without Mike Trout, and the Rockies, and they've blown 3 of those games that they should have won. It's just it's awful. It's awful. It's a very low point for the franchise. And we thought in 2017 that everything was going to be really good. We thought we were back to being a top team, and then just continued failure in the playoffs. 2018 they lose to the Red Sox. 2019 losing the ALCS. 2020 lose to the Rays. 2021 lose the wild card game to the Red Sox, and then 2022 another ALCS loss. This team, the way it's constructed, is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it's just not going anywhere. They got to make changes. They got to make some trades, especially some of these veterans. They got to trade out of here. They got to fire the manager. There's just so much that has to be done. And the thing was, you go back to last year, they were right there. They were right there last year, especially in the first half of the year. They were right there. Yeah, they tailed off in the second half. But they were right there, being one of the top teams in baseball, and it has just gone the other way this year.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And, the organization right now, because, again, we thought in 17, things were bright, and, you got to Game 7 there against the Astros, and, it's all fallen apart since. And, again, all the organization does is make excuses. 17, I'm it was even before last year, the season. Cashman was about the World Series drive. He's we should have got there in 17, but, the Astros and it's Brian, you lost 2-1. Yeah, the team didn't hit.
I know.
I know. The excuse this year is going to be, oh, well, we didn't have Aaron Judge. Last year, after they lost the Astros, well, we would have beat them if we had guys healthy. You were not beating the Astros.
No, you got – remember when you got swept? Remember you got swept.
Yeah.
If you want to use Aaron Judge as the excuse, Aaron Judge has gotten hurt before. He has a history of getting injured. And you paid and you gave him the contract. That's on you. Don't sit there and make that. Yeah. Don't use that as an excuse.
Yeah, they will though. Oh, they will.
Of course they will, because they're not accountable with the way they were when George was there. If George was here, Aaron Boone would have been fired back in 2020 or 2021 if George was still here. The old Steinbrenner would have fired him in 2018. I mean, what they allow here is the standards have definitely fallen here. Don't tell me that it's championship or bust, because Aaron Boone would not be the manager and Brian Cashman would be the general manager if it's championship or bust.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They would not be here anymore, and they would have turned the corner very quickly. And I know it's a lot tougher now to win the World Series because you got more playoff teams, and I think the analytics have kind of helped. You've seen it has helped the Rays and some of these small market teams kind of compete. It hasn't really, the analytics have not helped the Yankees at all. But yeah, if George is, you wish Hal had a little bit of George in him, just a little bit. Cause I'm it was 3 weeks ago. He was saying, I don't know why the fans are so frustrated. It's this is what we knew they were.
Yeah. Why are the fans? Why are the fans frustrated? Why are you upset? Why do you think the fans are frustrated? You're not winning.
No. You're not. You're 4 games over, and again, you're the second, third highest payroll in the sport, and you're 4 games over 500. And you're getting your doors blown off you by the Rockies, the Angels, the Cubs at home. You're supposed to tread, and this was a kind of a point where, hey, we could kind of tread water here, kind of, easier part of the schedule here, where we could kind of keep ground here with the wild card teams, but that's not what they've done at all. And they've completely fallen off, and it's bad. And and again, the last thing too, is the other day when it's the Yankees are looking for a starter, a catcher, a left fielder, and bullpen. It's usually a team that's looking for 4 different positions. Usually those are sellers, not contenders. And again, for the year, we're all set. We can win with this group. I seriously don't know how they believe that that they thought they could win this. Again, I just think the Yankees think that all of us fans are like idiots, because it's Boone every night. We'll get him tomorrow night. The way he talks every night, it's they must think we're idiots and don't know what how baseball works or whatever. Again, I did not stay up last night. I didn't Friday it was Saturday night. I didn't turn the game on. I watched the Canadian Football League instead. I can't watch this team anymore because it's just miserable and it's just not enjoyable. I've been watching other baseball games, not much of the Yankees lately. It's the same thing every night. And
we talked about, we were going to talk about the Yankees trying to get Ohtani. That's not appropriate right now. I think the big question is at this point, should the Yankees be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? I think we should ask that question. Should the Yankees be buyers or sellers? Right now, I still think they should be buyers. They're only 2.5 games out, and they might be able to pick up some ground beforehand, because look at the games they have coming up. They have the Royals for 3 and the Mets for 2, so they might be able to win 4 to 5 there and be in it. So I do think they should be buyers, but let me tell you, if someone says they should be sellers at this point, I'm not going to give that strong of an argument about it.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, I'm at the point where I think you kind of sell and I kind of want to sell at this point, but the problem is with doing that is who's going to trade for Anthony Rizzo right now? Who's going to and just eat the contracts and just retool, just start retooling? Because do I really want to give up some of my top prospects for a team that might not even make the playoffs? Not really. I don't want to give up Jason Dominguez. I was reading last night.
I actually saw
MLB
Jason
Scout.
Dominguez hit a home run last night in Hartford.
Yes, he did it one last night. You were there?
Yeah, I was there to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. He's starting to get well. I was reading last night a scout, Austin Wells. They were saying, his bat will not, his bat's ready for major league level. Again, he's not ready catching wise to catch a major league stat, but his bat's ready. he could play first base. Why don't you just try him out at first base for a little bit and just see?
Bring these guys up. This lineup is terrible. Dominguez, Wells, bring them up. I don't mind that they're playing Peraza now. Just bring these guys up. This lineup is terrible. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to struggle. Yeah. Okay, they're top prospects. They're not going to completely lose their confidence. Give them reps. It's better than what you have right now.
Nice. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Why don't you just do that? Again, if Rizzo's so bothered with the neck, just put him on the 10-day IL. Bring up Wells, see what Wells can do. Have Wells pick at the ears of, Higashioka and Trevino. Learn how to become a better, hopefully he become like a better catcher and could be the future catcher of the team. But at this point, again, I would trade a Rizzo and LeMahieu, but what are their values? Like, that's the issue. That's why I'm like,
there's no value with those guys. There's none right now.
And that's the disappointing part, because you could eat some salary, you can kind of retool things, because that's what this team really needs. But yes, that's why I would like to be a seller, but that's why it would be tough, because you're not going to get anything for them. You're going to eat all these contracts, and it just, So I at this point, I'd rather say put, because again, I understand the buying point, but I'm like, why would I want to risk giving up a top prospect for a team that might not even make playoffs? That's where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
I'm saying they should be buyers, but not make that splash move. Maybe go out and get, like they've been saying, maybe a Cody Bellinger, not make a smash move where you got to give up a Dominguez or a Wells. You don't want to give up those guys for this team, but not make a splash move, but just make an addition if you're in it to make the try to show the fan base that you're going for this. Just make maybe an addition. But yeah, you don't want to go out like we were going to talk about Ohtani. At this point, I don't think it makes sense for the Yankees to trade all this for Shohei Ohtani, because this team might not even make the playoffs. And if you don't re-sign him, it's a total waste. Yeah. So, yeah, but maybe a smaller move I wouldn't mind. So I do think they should be buyers, but not go crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they should go crazy. Bellinger would be nice, because I think his swing fits beautifully for Yankee Stadium. Randall Gritch has been a Yankee killer would be nice. I don't know if he, again, he played Friday night, didn't play Saturday and Sunday after he had a huge night Friday. I don't know why the Rockies benched him, but it didn't really seem to matter for them, especially Sunday. So I heard his name in the mix too. Yeah, like I wouldn't mind, I guess, getting one of those. It just, that doesn't really put us over the top. Again, maybe it makes us a little bit better. And then, yeah, you probably only have to give up like maybe like a, bottom 10 or like kind of maybe like a guy that's kind of like a top 10, maybe top 11, somewhere in that range. Maybe you would have to give up for like a Gritchett or Bellinger, maybe. But yeah, like I would not go much higher up than that. I just, it just doesn't seem to be worth it with the team. So yeah, like if they do a move like that, I wouldn't mind it. But yeah, like I don't want this team going out and trying to make a splash move and trying to. And usually Brian doesn't really do that. Like Brian really hasn't really destroyed the farm system in a trade. Like he really hasn't gone about it like that either. So, but yeah, like I wouldn't mind a Bellinger, Randall Gritchett. Trying to think who else. From a team that could maybe sell pieces. But yeah, like at this point, it's not great. And yeah, I just we'll see. I don't have much confidence that even with one of those pieces that it makes that much of a difference. I don't know. I'm just at that point with this team.
Yeah, this team is just not looking good at all. And hopefully it gets better in the next week. But seeing the schedule in August, I just don't think it is going to get better. But we're going to wrap up talking about the Red Sox. And they've done the opposite of what the Yankees have done, is they have beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. Before the All-Star break, they swept Oakland. Then coming out of the All-Star break, they won 2 out of 3 against Chicago. And then they have already split with Oakland today. They're a game and a half behind the Astros. And the difference between them and the Yankees is they got younger players. They got some players like Yoshida. They got guys like Devers. They got guys like Duran. They got younger guys that they could build around. And that's why I think if you're the Red Sox, you have to do something at the trade deadline. You definitely have to improve this rotation. I think you would have a chance because they're good enough offensively that this team has a chance to maybe make, and then also they got the manager too, who's won a World Series.
Yeah.
They would have a chance to make a run. The way they're constructed now with their pitching, there's no way this team's winning the World Series. But maybe if they make a move at the trade deadline, go out and get a Marcus Stroman, maybe an Eduardo Rodriguez. If they can get another arm, maybe another arm in the bullpen behind Kenley Jansen, I think this team could make a run. So this team needs to be aggressive at the trade deadline. They're the opposite of the Yankees. They may have to trade a good prospect to get a Marcus Stroman. They might have to trade a good prospect to get back Eduardo Rodriguez. They might have to trade a really good prospect to do that. I know Chaim Bloom hates doing that, hates to trade the farm system, farm system. But if this team has a chance, they need to show the fan base that that they're going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to, especially the way they're playing. And look, they've really struggled, most of the year against some of these lesser teams. But look, before the break, they swept Oakland. They won 2 out of 3 last week against the Cubs. They're playing a rubber match this afternoon against the A's. But, again, I think they're going to take that one probably this afternoon. So, yeah, it's been a great stretch. And they're, 10-3 now? Since we begin July, they're one of the hottest teams in baseball. And, yeah, like the way the offense has been playing, I know they kind of got cooled off last night, but this line has been on fire. Yeah, Bloom's got to make a move. And, this is, especially 2 coming up. You got the Mets this weekend, then you got the Braves before going out west to San Francisco and Seattle again. And then you look at most of August, it's a tough slate. You got the Astros twice, you got the Dodgers coming to town. So, the Blue Jays, I know they've beaten up on the Blue Jays, but still division, opponent here. So, yeah, for like Boston, they're right in this thing. But with their schedule coming up in August, you got to make a move or two. And I think they should. They got to go get another starter. That's the depth right now with all the guys that got hurt. Paxton kind of blew up there in the 6th or 3rd inning the other day. But, yeah, this team's – they got to make a move. They're right there. And, and for Chaim to get some of the fan base off him, he's got to go out there and be a buyer. He has to.
If they don't get a starting pitcher and this team collapses, this team misses the playoffs, Chaim Bloom should be fired. They need to get a starting pitcher at trade deadline. Not get a starting pitcher. Seeing some of the moves Chaim Bloom has made over the years, the guys he's let walk, letting Mookie Betts walk, letting J.D. Martinez walk, letting Alexander Bogaerts walk, seeing the guys he's let walk and not improve the rotation, he has got to get a starting pitcher. This is a humongous trade deadline for Chaim Bloom. He has got to get a starting pitcher at the trade deadline.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And there's always a good amount of those out there. So, I know Lucas Giolito got blown up last night, but, the White Sox are interested in trading him. You might have to give a little bit more to get a Giolito, but there's always guys out there on the trade market that there's always starters out there, and again, you can find one of them out there. So I'm with you. Chaim's got to go get a starter. You're going to get Story's going to start rehabbing this weekend. So you're going to get Story back.
And that's going to make the lineup even better because if you have him, you got Devers, you got Yoshida, you got Turner. You got Turner, you got
Duran's been on fire.
Duran playing well. So you got a really good lineup. You got a really good lineup. So you don't need to really touch that. But the bullpen and the rotation, they need to be improved if this team is going to compete for a championship.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Haven't heard much on Sale yet, but he threw a bullpen last week, so Sale's starting to throw too. But so again, he's probably still like a month.
But you can't count on him anymore. You can't count on him. You can't count on him.
I know you can't, but again, they somehow make the August. That's not a bad bullpen option if you need them for an inning or two. That's not I don't think they would do that, but if they get there, just give them, a couple of innings he can give you at times. That'd be nice. So, for Boston, yeah, they got it. They got to get another starter. They got to get some depth in there because, I know Houck hasn't been great, but he's been out, and I don't think there's much of a timetable yet for him. Whitlock's been very up and down, but, I think he's going to be out till at least, August. So, yeah, you got to get some more because these bullpen days just are not going to cut it. I know a couple of these guys, like Chris Murphy's pitched pretty well since, Nick Pivetta looked good, but they want to keep him in the they just want to kind of use him as a bulk guy for now. So, again, the bullpen days have been working, but it's you're kind of playing with fire, I feel, especially with a bullpen that has been better than we've expected, but it's still not great. So you never kind of know, they could blow up from time to time.
Absolutely. So the bottom line is the Red Sox, They're in it right now, and they need to make moves at the trade deadline to improve their team going forward. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin and Alfredo, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week. No. We'll be back in 2 weeks because I'll be away next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks talking about the trade deadline in baseball and any NFL news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group, and here at CMG we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men, and great true crime shows like Stinky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Burn, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.